What happens when there is no reward? Let me describe the situation. This is the tale of the worst campaign I've ever been in. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. This was long ago, before gaming online. I was in a friend's campaign. This friend had a real problem with control in his homebrew setting. See, he was really DMing a low-level break in his epic level campaign. He claims at the beginning of this one that the characters we make will likely go all the way up to 20. We're playing in a classic small town necromancer adventure in the meantime. The party consists of myself, the wizard, the paladin, our half-elf thief, and a gnome bard. The GM hands a cleric to the thief because clerics are almost mandatory in an undead campaign. The campaign gets off to a grim dark start. Around session number 3, we gain a new player, the GM's brother. He plays a fighter, one old enough to take age penalties, with the backstory that he's an experienced veteran who has seen it all. At level 2. Remember me saying that the GM had a problem with control in his campaign setting? Turns out he and his brother had been GMing for each other in this setting since they were children, and his brother's control problem was just as bad. We go to a new town. The GM paints the scene. It's a beautiful villa with a downtown that appears to be very old. There are no palisades. The surrounding wood merely blends into the houses. And then the old church. There are some armed men dressed in matching copperplate, and they have a banner of a charging bull. Crimson Taurus soldiers shouldn't be this far south. Do you maybe want to talk to them to see what's happening? No, dude, you keep changing the setting and I think it's poop. Body, we don't see the Crimson Taurus soldiers. You all definitely see the soldiers wearing red. No, they're the elite guards of such and such emperor. They shouldn't be in this location, and they don't have a quest for us. Every member of the Crimson Taurus is a level 20 fighter. After a 45-minute screaming match, we explore the town and avoid the red-wearing soldiers. The GM even avoids describing them again. Every single session went about the same after that. The GM would say something that causes his brother to start screaming. The GM just screams back. The brother tries to side GM the party. The brother also kept trying to steer us towards things that he made for when he was DMing in this setting, telling us that the courthouse in this village has a secret tunnel from the library, telling us the name of a contact in another city from a campaign he ran years ago, so on. Some really bizarre facts came out of this, such as every soldier in every army being a level 20 fighter. There is a Rakshasa on the High Council in this nation. There is a total thrall to a mind flayer on the High Council in that nation. There is, in fact, no land nor sea on the world map when it ends on all 4 sides by water. Just for funsies, I calculated out how large their campaign setting world would be. An entire planet roughly the size of Great Britain. The brothers didn't like when I did that. As time goes on, we find our characters exiled from their country and performing side quests that seem like they will directly help against the necromancer. When I hit high enough level to scry, I do so and make contact with our townsmen. They've been imprisoned to get back at us for our alleged treason. Heartbreaking, but our path is clear. We need to get enough allies to save our town. Not according to the GM's brother.
We can't wait. To wait will be a total moral failing. There is no excuse for it.
We're gonna die without enough aid.
How can you suggest we idle as our townsfolk suffer?
He's not saying we should idle. He's saying we should gather allies and power and take back the town when
I don't expect a thief to adhere to anything I consider morals. We have to march back there right now.
It's an entire nation away, and we haven't actually finished any of the quest lines we started here. So I don't think anyone—
I thought you were supposed to be good aligned. Good aligned people can't just sit back as their loved ones suffer.
The party is at an impasse. Well, not really, since we all agree except for the GM's brother. Issue is that the fighting has tripled, and it isn't just aimed at the GM anymore. He was actively fighting the rest of the party every time we tried to make a decision. After about 5 sessions where we haven't gotten much done due to party arguments, we all finally just say, you know what? Let's abandon our unfinished quest lines and march back to our hometown with only the hirelings we could afford to pay and no story-related allies. Would it surprise you to learn that someone paid our hirelings more if they would turn on us? In a tragic session, our attempt to save the town ended up with us saving about 1 town member each, losing our cleric, and subjecting the rest of the town to an incredibly dark fate. With our tail between our legs, we flee the country once again. Once we are out of danger, the brother drops character.
Why didn't you guys try to stop me?
What?
Going back to that town without allies was a terrible idea. Why didn't you guys try to push back or tell my character no?
Are you serious?
The purpose was for one of you guys to grow a spine and tell my character that he's wrong.
Everyone is infuriated. As a player, I feel embarrassed. I wonder if GM's brother feels embarrassed because he goes to the next 3 sessions without saying a single word. As we finally approach the final dungeon, without allies that we could have made, and without the magic items that would have come from completing the side quest, GM's brother makes a statement.
I'd like to make a new character. Don't do that, you guys are about to start the final dungeon. My character can't deal with the shame of what he's caused. He slinks off in the middle of the night.
The GM cut the session short. We had been playing an hour out of a 3-hour long session, and supposedly the two argued long after we left. I get the impression. Next session, we meet a druid and share our meager collection of items with him because we want to win. Next session, GM's brother just doesn't show up at all. The GM starts without him, and everyone goes with it because we figure that maybe we can get in some actual gaming before he shows up. GM tells us when we ask, I told him not to come back. If you thought my GM sounded reasonable in this story, let my next statements prove you wrong. Because we had erased the items for our character sheet when we gave him our items, those items were simply gone. This left 2 of our party members with no magic weapons or armor whatsoever. As we enter the dungeon, the thief checks for traps. Looks clear. Guy rolled a 17 on the die. He moves forward and is struck by a symbol of death. He makes the save. I cast resistance on him. He checks the next space, rolls an 18 on the die. It's clear. He steps forward. Another symbol of death. He doesn't make the save this time. Thief is dead 10 feet into the dungeon. Bard just doesn't show up next session or ever again. Same deal with their items just being gone. What started out as a 6-man team, Wizard, Paladin, Druid, Bard, Thief, and new Cleric, was now down to 3. Miraculously, we make it to the final boss of the dungeon, a giant head of some kind animated onto itself. It is in a smallish room when we get to it, and our thief, now controlling the cleric since his character got swatted, plays a genius move and consecrates the area, making it so this guy can't create or summon undead. That single genius move took this fight from impossible to improbably. Through very careful movements, timing actions so the paladin can rush backwards to heal himself, and putting a crowd control right between them, dispelling every spell this thing casts, using every charge of every consumable, the paladin had this item that let him take a hit point from himself to add +1 to smite damage, and with the thought that this might be his last turn, he burned every hit point he had left, and then every hit point that would have kept him alive beyond 0 HP. It was just enough to destroy them both. We discovered that for the town to be safe, the cleric has to stay behind to power the divine thingy. My character returns to town, beaten, bloody, traumatized. I won, but at what cost? I casually asked the GM about XP, since he told me that these characters may go up to level 20.
You guys don't get XP. That thing was way too high above your challenge rating. The only reason you beat it is due to sheer luck.
I am aghast. Did my GM just GM a totally different fight?
Your character comes back to a town that is filled with suspicion. Even though your treason was proven false, your public image has never been able to recover. And when you return alone from the dungeon, you are arrested under suspicion of necromancy,
he says. I never liked this campaign. That hurts. To do so much and fight so hard against the odds just to be told that you got lucky when you used your resources perfectly is such a slap to the face that it stings far long after. Frankly, this is why you abandon ship early, because even what little success you might be able to conjure up might lead to an even deeper wound in return. What do you all think about this situation?